So hello everyone, welcome again to live session of Manu Law classes. I am Dinesh Kumar and I am former assistant professor of law at Campus Law Center, Law Faculty, Delhi University, and presently I am working as an academic head of Manu Law classes. So dear students, in today's session I will discuss with you one of the most important topic of Constitution of India, that is public interest litigation. But before moving to the main discussion part, there are some important announcements for you. Admissions are open at Manu Law classes for the upcoming batch of 2022 and 2023. All of you may get yourself enrolled with us for getting the best result. And for more information, you can dial on the given number, that is 9971 444 054. Dear students, the date of CLAT examination 2022 is 8th May 2022 and the date of CLAT examination 2023 is 18 December 2022. So prepare yourself accordingly. One more important thing, your application window for filling the form of CLAT has been opened on 1st January 2022 and it will remain open till 31st March 2022. So fill your form timely and wish you all the best. Now we come to the main topic, and our today's topic is public interest litigation. So as its name suggests, public interest litigation, it means it involves the interest of public. What is the meaning of term public? Public, we don't have any statutory definition of term public, but it generally means more than two persons are considered as public. Interest means if something is for their interest. Litigation means a petition filed in honorable courts. So this term public interest litigation has been borrowed from the American jurisprudence, and it means a litigation filed by any public spirited person or any citizen of India to protect the interest of public. So generally the public interest litigation deals with the following matters: road safety, bonded labor, atrocities on women, and the matter relating to the pollution of environment. So basically this public interest litigation means, as a general rule, if a right of a person has been violated, then that person is supposed to go to the court himself. अगर किसी पर्सन के राइट्स वायलेट होते हैं तो उस पर्सन का ही राइट होता है कि वो कोर्ट में जाए और अपने राइट के लिए रिलीफ क्लेम करे. एंड दिस कंसेप्ट इज नोन एज लोकस स्टैंडाई. लोकस स्टैंडाई. लोकस स्टैंडाई मीन्स only that person has authority to go to the court whose right has been violated. But public interest litigation is an exception to that rule. Public interest litigation उस रूल का मीन्स रूल्स ऑफ लोकस स्टैंडाई का एक्सेप्शन होता है. इस पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट लिटिगेशन में कोई भी पब्लिकली स्पिरिटेड पर्सन या कोई एनजीओ भी डायरेक्टली कोर्ट जा सकती है, एंड इफ इट थिंक्स दैट द राइट ऑफ पब्लिक आर वायलेटेड. नाउ इसका मतलब क्या है कि कोई भी सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया और एनी एनजीओ हु इज वर्किंग फॉर द वेलफेयर ऑफ द पब्लिक can approach to Honorable Supreme Court directly for the protection of the right of public under Article 32 of Constitution of India. It can also approach to Honorable High Courts under Article 226 of Constitution of India. The term public interest litigation has not been defined under any Indian law, so we just give the general definition of this term public interest litigation. Now we come to the genesis of this concept. So the first case regarding public interest litigation was Hussain Ara Khatun versus State of Bihar, and it is the case of 1979. In this case, a PIL means the public interest litigation was filed by one of the advocate of Supreme Court, namely Kapila Hingorani. So Kapila Hingorani filed a public interest litigation in this case, and the matter was relating to the under trial prisoners and inhumane treatment with the under trial prisoners. So basically, first of all, we will understand here the meaning of term अंडर ट्रायल प्रिजनर्स कि अंडर ट्रायल प्रिजनर्स कौन होते हैं. सो बच्चों, अंडर ट्रायल प्रिजनर्स वो प्रिजनर्स होते हैं जिनका ट्रायल अभी कोर्ट में चल रहा है, ठीक है. और दिस मैटर वाज रिलेटेड टू दिस आस्पेक्ट, ये मैटर इस आस्पेक्ट से रिलेटेड था कि सपोज दैट द मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट ऑफ ए क्राइम इज 3 years. For example, we may take the example of theft. So according to section 379 of IPC, the maximum punishment of theft is up to 3 years. लेकिन किसी पर्सन का अगर ट्रायल चलते हुए 4 साल हो गए हैं या 5 साल हो गए हैं, so it will amount to the violation of his right to speedy trial. So same issue was before honorable court in this case, and in this case honorable Supreme Court and especially Justice P.N. Bhagwati took the cognizance of the public interest litigation filed by Kapila Hingorani and ordered the release of around 40,000 under trial prisoners on the ground of inhumane treatment, and their trial was not completed by the state machinery within a specified time. And Honorable Supreme Court in this case held that speedy trial or right to speedy trial is a fundamental right under Article 21 of Constitution of India. So means if an accused person is not tried speedily by the court, then it amounts to the right to violation of that individual or of that accused person under Article 21 of Constitution of India. So Justice P.N. Bhagwati is known as the father of PIL in India, and Kapila Hingorani is known as the mother of PIL in India. So this information is important from your examination point of view. Now we come to some other cases. So Honorable Supreme Court, again in the case of MC Mehta versus Union of India. In this case, MC Mehta is an advocate of Honorable Supreme Court, and he is the environmental activist. So he filed a public interest litigation regarding the pollution of water of Ganga river, and Honorable Supreme Court took the cognizance of that PIL or public interest litigation and held that in this case or in the case of public interest litigation, the rule of locus standi does not apply, and any person who is concerned about the welfare of the society can file the public interest litigation under Article 32 directly in Honorable Supreme Court and under Article 226 of Constitution of India in the various high courts of the country. Now we come to the next case, and the next case is Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan. In this case, a lady was gang raped by some of the accused person, and subsequently all of the accused person were acquitted. So on the behalf of lady Vishakha, an NGO filed public interest litigation in Honorable Supreme Court, and this litigation was concerned the sexual harassment of a woman at workplace. Honorable Supreme Court took the cognizance of this PIL filed by the Vishakha and gave the various guidelines in this regard, and recognized this fact that if a lady or if a female is sexually harassed at the workplace, then it amounts to the violation of her fundamental right given under Article 14, 15 and 21 of Constitution of India. Honorable Supreme Court also gave various guidelines, and according to that guideline, it was mandatory for all the departments to constitute a committee for the prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace. Earlier, the term sexual harassment was also not defined under any law, but by the Criminal Law Amendment 2013, term sexual harassment has been also defined under IPC under section 354A. And on the basis of the decision or guidelines of Honorable Supreme Court, Parliament also enacted a law, that is Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. So earlier we were also not having any specific law regarding the prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace, but now by virtue of the directions of the Honorable Court in the case of Visakhapatnam versus State of Rajasthan. This law has also been enacted by the Parliament, and this law is in force right now. Now a question arises before us that who can file PIL, means PIL को कौन फाइल कर सकता है. So PIL can be filed by any citizen or any person, and it can also be filed by any NGO. The main concern is that that person should be public spirited person, or that NGO should be aware or should be careful about the rights of the society or right of the people of the society. This PIL is filed under Article 32 directly in Honorable Supreme Court, and it can also be filed under Article 226 in the various high courts of the country. Now the main question arises, or one more important question arises before us, and the question is that against whom a PIL can be filed. हम PIL किसके against file कर सकते हैं? So this PIL can be filed against the state government, central government, municipal authorities, or against any instrumentality of state. So the state, we will take the reference to the definition of state as provided under Article 12 of the Constitution of India. So state not only include the state government, but it also include the legislature of the state, Parliament of India, and some local authorities, municipal authorities, and some other authorities. Other authorities here means the government, the instrumentality of the state government, if they are also they perform the function of state, and if these instrumentality violates the right of any person, then any citizen of India or any NGO can approach to Honorable Supreme Court on the behalf of those affected persons. Now this cannot be filed against a private individual. So PIL can only be filed against the state or the municipality and municipal authorities, local authorities, and all the other instrumentalities of state. Now we come to some criticism of PIL. So basically the purpose behind PIL is to protect the interest of the society, or protect of the interest of those persons who are not able to approach court because of the poverty, or because of lack of knowledge, or because of any other reason. But there is some dark aspect of PIL. So suppose an industry is involved in the pollution of environment, and some person filed the PIL against that industry, and Honorable Supreme Court give the order that such industry should be closed. So now if the industry will be closed, it will also affect the right of the workers of that industry and the family member of that employee of the industry. So it will be a question of right to livelihood before all of them. So here there will be the conflict between the interest of right to environment and right to livelihood. So these kind of matter must be dealt in a very cautious manner. Secondly, it may also increase the burden on courts. You know that we are having a limited number of courts in our country, and so many matters are pending before honorable courts. So if PIL will be filed by any public spirited person or by NGO, then it will also increase the burden of the court. So here we need to be very cautious that the false or frivolous PIL or PIL for private interest must not be allowed. Next, sometime it may result into judicial overreach. So basically judicial overreach is a negative term, and it is used against the term of judicial activism. So basically judicial activism means the active part performed by the judiciary for the protection of the interest of the weaker people of the society. But sometime it may amounts that sometime Honorable Supreme Court exceed its power, or honorable courts exceed its power, and it amounts to the violation of doctrine of separation of power. So doctrine of separation of power has been given under Article 50 of Constitution of India, and it provides that all organs of a state must perform their respective function, and no organ of the state should interfere into the functioning of other organ. For example, there are three organs of a state. First is legislature, and the main work of legislature is to legislate or make the law. Second is the executive, and the main task of executive is to enact the law. And third is judiciary. So the main function of judiciary is to punish the person who violates the law. But if judiciary will actively participate or judiciary will exceed its limits, then it may affect the functioning of other two organs like the legislature or the executive. So considering the PIL, this fact also need to be taken into consideration. Next, if relief through PIL is not given on time, suppose there are so many cases pending in our courts and one person filed PIL for the protection of interest of various people, and that person or those persons who are affected because of the violation of any law or violation of their fundamental rights, and those people do not get the justice within a specified time, then it may result into the justice delay, justice denied. So this justice delay and justice denied means if you don't get the justice on time, then it will be deemed that you did not get the justice. Although PIL is very good for the protection of interest of the society, but there are some criticism of it and its application must be taken into consideration with some cautions. So that's all for today, my dear students. I will come again with the next topic. Till then, thank you very much. Goodbye.